Action! Hi, welcome back to Event Ready Podcast, where we talk about our roller coaster ride of being a life event artist.
So, if you're a painter, calligrapher, or illustrator, this podcast is for you.
Because we're about to uncover the secrets, the stories, and the struggles of the industry. This is your host, Michelle.
And I'm Talisa.
And I'm Isabel.
Okay, we are back. Second episode of second season of Event Ready Podcast.
Woohoo.
So yeah, so last episode we talked about if you had gone to art school, and we talk about our transferable skills from our non-art transferable skills that's applicable for us as and you guys as live event artists. And a lot of people shared their experience on our Instagram post, and we really love learning
Mhm.
about all of you guys.
Yes, thank you for sharing all your history and your education with us. I think that'll be really useful for everyone to like refer back to and read about and see what misconceptions are out there and learn some new things about our friends.
Mhm. So this episode, we're talking about our pastime to paycheck. So our journey from being having this hobby to making a profit. So this is gonna be fun. Okay, Michelle, can you spill the tea
Ooh, I
for
get the
us? Spill the
honors.
truth. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, truth, business admin is equally as important as the actual art when you're switching from pastime to paycheck. But do not let this intimidate you. The admin marketing part is an
Yeah,
ongoing process of improvement. So,
I agree. Even right now, I don't think my process is like perfect. It's like a progress.
mhm. It's always
So
going to be
It
a
can never be
progress.
perfect,
yeah, I
like
can.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like a sometimes it's like a backward looking thing. You've improved it based on what you know, and then 6 months later you're adapting to new things, and then you're like, oh,
Mhm.
I have to like add this new thing. I have to
Mhm.
change my contract. I have to make updates. So I don't think it's supposed to be perfect.
Yeah. And when we are referring business admin, that would include marketing, which is a huge part of our
Mhm.
job. Emails, communication, bookkeeping,
Mhm.
and all that stuff. Moving on to the E part of which is the example, expertise, and experience. So we're gonna talk a little bit about our background history. So I'm gonna ask Michelle first.
Oh,
Can you share a pivotal moment in your journey when you were pursuing art from a hobby to making it profitable, that transition?
okay. I was thinking about this and I started like in the last episode, I started going off on it already. Um,
Mhm.
I this all started when my friends started asking for calligraphy for their weddings. So they saw that I could make wedding signs. They saw that I addressed the envelopes, and so they wanted theirs done too. And so at that point, it wasn't just friends. It became like acquaintances, then like random people I knew just from work. So if I was to charge for this service, I wanted to make sure that it was legal, not just like,
Mhm.
doing under the table kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't want to get in trouble. So then I started looking into like the business side, which is like sole proprietor, and then
Mhm.
getting like license and stuff like that. So that whole process happened. And at that point, I'm like, okay, this is serious. Like a lot of my time is now spent doing some business stuff, but yet, you still get to do the art side, which, you always will love. But at that point, I'm like, okay, this is like real. And then I also started selling some things on Etsy. I had like stickers there. I still have it. And then I was selling like ornaments. So I guess when I was making art, there was always in the back of my mind, like, what am I going to do with this? Like, I love giving it as gifts, but what else can I do? Like, there's thoughts like, okay, you're here now, and then what can you do to grow? Like, you want to keep moving, you want to keep changing. So I guess that was in my mind. Like Isabel was
Mhm.
saying, like, you're always growing. Like, this is not a perfect thing. So what can you do from there? And I guess that
Mhm.
that was the point. That was the point where I was like, okay, business time,
Mhm.
business, art and
Yeah.
business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you switch up.
Yeah.
What about you, Isabel?
Maybe this is a little predictable, but my story is gonna be like warm and gushy and gross. But so when I saw this question that you posed for us, I thought about the first time, like the literal very first time somebody asked me through an Instagram DM for a commission. The first
Mhm.
time that it was a paid job, it was this guy who asked, like, hey, can you write in like fancy calligraphy, like a love letter for my girlfriend who I'm gonna propose to? And
Oh.
I was like, yes, of course. I can't wait to read it. So
Oh.
yeah, he sent me this like it wasn't super long. It was definitely personally drafted. GPT did not exist back then. He wrote this thing
So it
from
was from
his
the heart.
heart. It
Oh.
was truly from the heart. Um, and it was like so sweet. It was like just a short kind of paragraph thing that declared his love for her and ended with, "Will you marry me?" And he said he was gonna like put this thing like on the bed. Like when she came home, she would see it. And I was like, yes, yes, I will do it. And I swear to God, I charged like $50 for it. I don't even know. But that was like it did click in at like that point in time, thinking like, oh, I this hobby of mine, I'm just doing my thing. I'm just practicing calligraphy. I just wanted to write. That's all I wanted to do. But somebody had made the step to message me like a total stranger, asking me to write something for him for proposing to his girlfriend. And I was like, oh, this is a skill that somebody could hire me for. This is something really special. Somebody saw my page and like liked my writing or like found somebody who could write this way. And I was like, oh, this could be a business. And
Oh.
then from that point on, so at the time I had like opened an Etsy shop as we all did. Um, and I had like processed this commission through Etsy. I just like opened a listing and said like, oh, it's a private commission, put up a price and sent him the link. He paid through that because I didn't know how else to like accomplish a transaction other than
Right.
using the shop, right?
Makes
And
sense.
then I was
Yeah.
like, oh, and this way after he pays, and I delivered a thing and he can like leave me a review on Etsy and that would be officially recorded. And so of course, like that got the gears turning, like, oh, if I can collect more reviews on Etsy, like people would see the shop and be like, oh, this is somebody I can order commissions from. And then from then on, I just like really focused on Instagram to be like, ooh, this is now my marketing tool. I'm gonna put more stuff on there. And it kind of all snowballed from there, I think. And
Mhm.
then um, moving from that, I know like couple years later, I had like amassed like a decent following, and people were asking for worksheets, right? So
Right. I
I
remember
had
those.
yeah. So then I had created them and just on my iPad, I don't know, the year was like 2018 or whenever I made them. And then just like threw it up and marketed through Instagram. Again, it's just like every little step of like, oh, what am I being asked to do? Oh, is there a demand for this? Oh, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can do that. But it was all really fun, like discovering the little steps to see like what can I make money off of that I would still enjoy doing. And as you know by now from the last episode, I do have a full-time job already. So of course, like because I work in wealth management, my thinking was always like this business income is on top of my, current salary. And so like every dollar I make, I don't make the whole dollar, right? Like like a lot of it will be taxed because I'm already making like a healthy salary. So I'm like, okay, if I'm making this money, is it just used to pay for my supplies? Is it just used to fund my hobby? How do I want to do it to like further profit from it? Or am I just like, oh, it's kind of nice to earn $200 here and there and like, let me go shop at the art store for fun. Like, is that what it is? Or am I making a
Right.
business? So it kind of all grew from there step by step. But that's kind of how it started.
You say
Triggered.
yes to the commission.
I
Yes.
said yes to the commission. I hope they're married now. I hope
I
they're
hope
happy.
so.
Oh.
Maybe they have kids now. No, who knows?
I should find him again. I have the Etsy order history. I can find this guy.
Oh, I love that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That triggered like all of your thoughts from there. Just that one order, like snowballed into like, is it the business? Is it not? What am I gonna do here?
Yeah, exactly. And like to this day, and I say it all the time, like I post it on stories still. Like every time I do a private commission, it's like it's very special to me. Like when I do like a
Of
long
course.
form text, like it's still so special to me when I'm like writing somebody's vows or um a poem to honor somebody's life, like stuff like that. It just like gets me in the
Yeah.
soft.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's what we're
Oh,
here for.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Tell us about your
Yeah.
story,
Let's
Talisa.
hear it.
Okay, so my story is actually a little different. I okay, so I talk about how I was in HR. Um, I was not happy. I actually was having a really hard time to love the job. It was
Mhm.
actually to the point that it was affecting my mental health.
Oh,
Um, and it was so bad that I started getting stress hives. So I started doing calligraphy when I was on my mat leave. And in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't know if I want to go back to corporate. And also in the back of my mind, I wonder what it would be like if I turn this into business. So it was like that mind kept like, it kept coming to my head and it just kept getting stronger and stronger as the more when I went back to work after my mat leave ended, it was actually getting worse. My mental health was like getting really bad. And then like I was getting stress hives almost every day. I was getting like panic attacks. And my husband felt really bad about what I went through. I talked to my doctor, I talked to like therapists and everything. Like, I don't know. I feel like I know what I should do,
mhm.
but I'm too scared to do it. It's like, what do you think? Is it like I want to quit my job and do
Oh
this
my,
as be a full-time artist? Like that's what I've been wanting for so long. Like I feel like the corporate life wasn't for me anymore. Um, it was just really hard on my family too, because I feel like I wasn't there as like it was just it because I cried. I came home, I cried. Like it was just a lot. So that was actually the pivotal moment where I felt like I'm gonna turn this hobby into business. So I did a lot of research and whatnot, which we talk a little bit about more, but that was basically the key moments where I was still working, but at the same time, I was like my colleague, my colleague, saw my Instagram and they started like asking me to do commissions for them, which I say yes to. And of course I underpaid because I didn't know what to charge like everyone else. But that was basically the pivotal moment. I don't recommend this to be the correct way of changing your of transitioning your hobby to profit by like quitting your job. Absolutely not. It was just a unique experience that I had. I felt like out of desperation, I had to get out, and
Yeah.
I was leaning into my passion. Um, but at the same time, also, my husband was working, right? So I had like a safety net, and I was like saving up my money. Like I didn't spend as much, so then we were okay for me to maybe not have any income for a few months until
Mhm.
I was ready. So yeah, that was a very unique experience, I felt like, but I don't think I would recommend it for people to like, hey, quit your job, go right, run,
Mhm.
build your passion. I felt like I feel like that was very risky, but I did it, but I worked really hard to get to where I am today.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so so like the next steps would be like what we're gonna be talking about.
Mhm.
So you guys mentioned that you have like some sort of portfolio on your Instagram and you have like Etsy. Can we talk a little like we could talk a little bit more about that?
In the beginning, when you start to build your portfolio, like you have so much pictures because you do all this work, and the easiest place to put it would be your Instagram. And it's really fun because
Mhm.
like all your friends will like it. Like you, Isabel, you had like people contacting you from there. They just DM you, and I have gotten orders from Instagram also. So it's a really fun place to put it. And then there was like the stories where you can even make videos. So it's a lot easier to do it that way.
Mhm.
But when you build your portfolio, and we'll go into this more into detail later, but the website is also like another place to put it. Um,
Mhm.
I also have stuff. I had a lot of stuff on Etsy at one point. I was even trying to sell like calligraphy commission stuff there too. So that was one of the platforms that I really started off with, but I didn't realize like all the fees were so high. Um, but
Yeah.
it's still a good place. Like if you're making sales, you just have to pay a little bit for it. So I didn't really go much into it. And then, TikTok rolls around, and there's so many different places that you can start building up the portfolio, but there's some that
Mhm.
may be more important than others. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know, what did you guys use for yours?
For me, it was all Instagram. And I like, why did I say that with such a heavy sigh? Um, yeah, that's where I started posting progress for when I was even just practicing, like, oh, day one of calligraphy, day two, and I was joining like lettering challenges. Remember those?
Oh my God, I
So
remember.
fun.
I mean, I'm sure they still exist. We just don't do them anymore. But like it was something that kept me going, like having a schedule of every single day in March, we're gonna post a quote or a word. And that's where I was posting anyway. So then I figured like that's where I would base my like marketing off of because I had already an existing following. All my work at the time was like I was really acting like a resource in the community. Like when I was posting lettering videos and like each single letter. People would save them or share them, that kind of thing. So that when they were using it, they could refer to my stuff. So I realized that like my community or my following at the time was using me as a resource, which is why like developing the worksheets and that kind
Mm.
of thing made a lot of sense to me because well if people want to use my stuff then maybe they'll want to learn from me too, and that's how I kind of went about marketing that. And I wasn't so focused on getting commissions. It was just so that when I did get the inquiry, it was always through there. So in my mind, I think I just was like very dead set on like, this is the thing for me. And I didn't even honestly think about having a website, creating one. I didn't realize the importance of launching one. So I didn't do that for the longest time, and we'll talk about that.
So for me, because from the get-go, I wanted this hobby to profit, to work out as soon as possible. I actually had I was part of a membership. So I had a business coach for a year with a membership. And it was for like entrepreneurs. So not it was not just for creatives, literally for like anyone. So it's like for women only entrepreneur kind of membership. And my coach was basically saying like you need to have a website. So I had a website right
Mhm.
away. So I was building that while I was still working in my corporate. And I shared it with my colleagues and everything. Like, look, I got a website. And my boss was like, "Oh, can I
Oh,
see a website?" I'm like, "Oh, is she gonna know that I'm
Maybe
gonna
not.
quit soon?" Like I have a deadline. Um, but yeah, I remember I absolutely had like I remember documenting how like taking pictures
Mm.
of like learning how to take pictures of your work was a whole other beast.
Yeah.
With your like you have to learn about like lighting, editing, and all that stuff. So I used to like basically so I had like my 9 to 5, and then my 5 to 9 was like taking care of the kids. As soon as they're like sleeping in bed, I like start building portfolio as if how I wanted to be hired. So at that time, it wasn't like live event yet, but it was more like for the wedding calligraphy stuff, like
Hmm.
uh
Place card.
signage and all that, place cards, envelope addressing and whatnot. So that was like what I did. So I just like try to take pictures and editing it. So I learned so much from all of that, trial and error, and then posted on my website. I didn't hire anyone to build my website, but I asked my best friend is a photographer. So she actually like she saw that me like, hey, like, like she's the same photographer that took art pictures for branding photo shoot. So I've always had so like I took pictures of my work myself, and then she offered to help me with this. And so I had some professional pictures already of myself and everything. I did not know the importance of like branding, branded photo shoot at that time, but my photographer told me like I should, so like I did. I like so that was like yeah, portfolio was mainly uh my website and Instagram at the time. And yeah, it's like always changing and it's always updating. So yeah.
And the importance that we put on the website versus social media has shifted.
Oh
Like
my.
we truly like we placed a lot of emphasis on having like such a presence on Instagram, having beautiful photos and like showcasing them and instead of like equal or maybe even putting more emphasis on the website. At least that was for me.
Mhm.
I didn't understand the importance of like shifting that. But even at the time, I didn't know who like my target audience was going to be as my business evolved.
Mhm.
Um, and as that changed, I think that's when I made that kind of mindset shift.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like understand where your target audience is hanging out, where they're looking.
Mhm.
And
So yeah, I think it's definitely important to do some market research. But it's kind of hard when you just start it because you don't know who you want to do, who you probably didn't even know who your target audience is, who your ideal client is. Like, do you
Mhm.
want to do weddings? Do you want to do live events? Do you want to do like mural? It's like there's so many things you can do with like with art, right? With calligraphy and illustration. So it was like for me, it was like I was just trying everything. But I guess
Yeah.
at that time, like the wedding calligrapher was like the hot thing. Like there was like,
Mhm.
the trending thing, right? The signage and
Mhm.
like the place card. I mean, it still does until now, but that was the journey that I I guess that we all, went to doing wedding stuff or like something like a
Mhm.
gift, like a gift for someone, stuff like that. Like the
Yeah.
commission
Yeah.
based, like in studio commission based.
Hmm.
Um, but did you guys do any like did you guys have any strategies to like understand your target audience?
I think from Instagram, a lot of brides are on Instagram. So I think
Mm,
that's why we were in the wedding industry first, or at
hmm
least that was what happened for me. And
hmm
then I started attracting, well, I had friends who were in the art industry already. Like one of them was a florist, the other one sold jewelry, and they would actually go to almost like a craft fair or live markets. So I would make like little wooden signs and sell it there. So then I started attracting more like craft fair kind of people. But this was all through Instagram. And I, at the time, like you, Talisa, I didn't understand what market. I didn't know who my client was. I just wanted to do art and post it somewhere and maybe it'll sell. Who knows? Um,
hmm
but the target audience, like when you start realizing, like, okay, the live events is what you want to do, you have to realize, like, who's looking, where are these people hanging out at? Like, are brands looking at your social media or do they want to look through Google? Like, you have to think about all that kind of stuff. And
hmm
this is not my first business. Like, I've done so many different things before. I actually really love marketing and doing that kind of research. So it's kind of like you have to think about the client, right? Your client is always number one, and you're just providing a service for them. So if you think about like what are you doing with your engraving or calligraphy? Like how can you help them in their business? So that's a way that you kind of shift your whole portfolio. Like, hey, I can like help you make more sales at your event that you're having. And so you kind of put yourself in that position and everything that you do from there kind of leads up to it. And that's how I structured my website. That's how I structured my Instagram. And it's you kind of just learn these things along the way. But of course, it didn't start like that. Lots of trial and error. And I think even now, I'm still doing trial and error. It's always going to be like
Yeah.
that.
hmm
But yeah, and the market's going to change too. Like after a while, like
hmm
whatever you're doing now is going to switch. It's like Instagram, how they keep changing the algorithms. Like the algorithm is just going to keep changing.
The trends change all the time.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it like that? What did you guys do?
Say, like in the history of like getting here,
Mhm.
um, similar to you, I had a period of time where I was just like shooting in the dark, right? Like whatever happens, happens. You were just trying to get business from wherever you could in the beginning, like see what sticks, right? Um, but as you said, like with I wanted to mention because you said the Instagram algorithm. Um, all these platforms that we can showcase on, we don't own them, right? Like we don't own our space there. And the only place on the internet that belongs to you is your website. And you
Mhm.
call all the shots on it. You make whatever updates you want. Um, and that space belongs to you. And nobody can take it away unless, I guess, if your domain gets taken away. But but at least like Instagram or TikTok can't like suddenly shut down one day, or like blackout or decide to completely change how things are being shown um to people who might be searching for you. So I just wanted to mention that point.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I've actually I've made mistake on like signing up for actually also paying for those one of those directory, like a paid directory thing. it never worked. It didn't work for me twice. So I just like, you know what, your own website actually works because like
Mhm.
that's where people go. People always go to Google. Like
Mhm.
if you're paying something for one of those directory, like they're competing against Google. So
Mhm.
um that's why having a website is so important. And it's like, some clients, some brand clients actually ask you to provide your website. If you don't have it, they're likely not going to hire you. It's just to maintain, to make sure that they have like some sort of alignment with your branding and their branding. So that's why it's like so important to have one. um we will be having episode to talk about that a bit more, in detail about website and social media. But we're just, touching upon this topic as we talk about our journey.
Mhm.
um but I do want to share my experience because I had a business coach at the very beginning. So I was told to do like some market research to see like which part of art that you can do that could be a value that someone would pay you for. So I did like a SWOT analysis, which is the strength, weakness, opportunity and threat, very business term. So I look at my competition. I look at the market in Toronto and whatnot. And I felt like, I had to start now. I had to go hard right now. This is like back in 2018, like late 2018. If I were to wait until later, it might be hard for me to be competing because I felt like this community is gonna grow bigger in my market, and it did. Uh, so I wanted to like get a start as early as I could, learn and then try and then like understanding what the target one. Like at that time, I wasn't sure if I was gonna get into the live event. Like that was like a wish list, but I was like, that's not what I was like the main goal. Like I didn't know that anyone would hire me for that. But but it transitioned, knowing the target audience transition how my copywriting was on my website, on my social media and whatnot. So then I was very clear on uh what values I could add to my potential client. So yeah. So that was, I guess, the strategy and and all that stuff. And also like also I had to make sure that these are the things that I really wanted to do because like along the way like at the beginning we wanted to do everything, right? But then 3 4 years later, like I can't do signage anymore because my back started to hurt. I'm getting older. So it changes and it's okay. um yeah.
That's like with every business, right? You always have
Yeah.
to pivot and you always have to do
Mhm.
research to see like, is this going to work or not?
Is it going to be a demand? That's like the most
Mhm.
important. Are you in the right market where
Mhm.
there is a demand for something? Can you create that demand? Is the demand is already there? All that
Mhm.
stuff that requires some observation and research within your own market.
And then you got
And
to
you
get
don't see.
creative from there and
Yeah,
like think about how
exactly.
you're going to make it work. That's
Exactly.
that's a lot of thought
And then,
process.
and then
Mhm.
also at the same time, like sometimes we get excited about a new opportunity or a new kind of client.
Mhm.
And then is it what we really wanted?
Mhm.
Or is it that your peers are doing it? Is this something you realistically see yourself doing long term? Or is it just like super cool because everybody's doing it and I wanted to get in on it too? And so that's kind of like an experimentation too. Like, do you do this one or two times and or for a year and you realize like, oh, I actually don't really like doing this job or this particular skill or service. And along the way, like you'll learn that about yourself too. And I'm sure we all did.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's so important that you have passion for it. That's what makes the
Mhm.
pastime to paycheck works and sustainable. Like you have to make sure that you love doing it. Otherwise, it's just gonna be like another job that you're stressed about and you're gonna hate
Yes.
it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, you're getting stress hives again, and then you got to quit this job and find
Oh
another
no,
one. Like,
not the stress hives.
The stress
No,
have again.
no.
again, what do I do next?
So I love that we share our research and whatnot. So I wanted to talk about in the earlier days, you must have had the goals that you wanted to achieve. Like, oh wow, now we're actually doing some business. Like, we like register our name, all that adult stuff.
The CRA knows who I am.
I know. Like, oh, now we gotta like
IRS.
now we have business expense. Um, can you share um an example of a goal that you had in that beginning, your early journey that you want to set and you successfully achieve? And can you share that strategy that you use?
Um, I I know it probably doesn't look like it, but I'm really impulsive when it comes to business. Like I just want to do things and get it done. That's why I have you two. You guys are like, no, no, don't do that. But in the beginning, I really wanted to like get everything set and get it rolling, but like I really didn't know how. So I had to do a lot of research on my own, and that led me to going to like the state website, signing up for my business name, doing it, making it legal and everything. And I wasn't an LLC yet. I only got that maybe a year ago. But at the time, like you just need something to make it look legal. I have to pay you got to pay so much taxes. So
Mhm.
you need your like EIN number or some sort of number just to make it legal. And I'm actually really proud of myself for figuring that out. Like no one like there's no resource out there that's going to tell you how to sign up for that. There's no one going to tell you like how to do your taxes or anything. Like that's all the stuff that you have to figure out on your own. So just me being impulsive, I don't even think I'm like, oh, I need this. I'm just going to figure it out, and you just do it. And you'll refine it along the way. But if
Mhm.
as long as you just get started and like do it now, like you don't put it off till later. So I had everything set up well before tax time. And so I guess I didn't have to worry about it then. Like there's so many things to think about. And
Mhm.
that's like the stuff I don't want to think about.
So maybe your goal was to like set up your business correctly, legally, and all that stuff, and like really firmly establish the administrative side,
Yeah,
uh,
you
and make
said
sure
it
you
so
had
nicely.
footing.
Yeah.
I'm just summarizing.
I went off on a tangent, but yeah, that's exactly what
uh,
happened.
so maybe I'll share a goal that I had. And I'll be honest, maybe it's because I'm getting old, but I don't remember why exactly I wanted to get into the live event industry. But I do recall pretty specifically that I wanted to see if I could get an on-site event
Mhm.
job. Because even at the time when I'll tell you about like how I got the job, but even as I got it, as soon as I had it in my hand, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how much to charge for it. Like I didn't know what to do with it. So then it wasn't like clearly a very well thought out goal, but I was just like very focused on getting it. But so what happened was I think I Googled well, first of all, I like knew the company that I wanted to work for. And then I found out through like some sort of like internal relations, like investor relations site, like page of their website. And then you could like submit like a very general inquiry. And it was one of those forms that had only like four fields. It was like name, email, what's your message? And I was like, this is gonna go nowhere, but I'm gonna send it anyway. But I remember there was a drop down that said like department, right? Or like um what type of question is it? And I selected marketing. Okay.
Mm.
So I said, like, okay, I'm Isabel, yada, yada, yada. This is what I do. This is what I want to do for you. This is how it could be beneficial for you. Blah, blah, blah. I did like a whole thing on a form. And I knew in my mind, I was like, this is just going to end up in a black vortex somewhere. Nobody's going to see it. It won't even matter, but I'm going to send it out anyway. Um, by some crazy stroke of luck, some human being actually responded to my web form. And this person was based in Toronto, which was very like relatable, very reachable. And said, "Oh, this is I'm so happy you reached out. This is actually something we are looking to do in the coming year." So it wasn't happening that year. But like I somehow got this person's contact. She's in my inbox. She has a first and last name. This is a real person that I can like follow up with. And then we chatted for I want to say like I don't know, like 10 emails exchanged. Like there was a lot of talking because I don't think it was um like a done thing at the company yet. Having like a live calligrapher. And then when it finally came to the point where she was like, "Oh, like let's schedule something for next spring because we want to do this and this and this in relation to like the cherry blossom season in Japan and we want to do this thing for that." And I was like, I'm giving birth in March. And so I cannot do that. And so it was like so crushing. I was like, after all this time, I was finally going to nail down an event. It was going to be a job, it was going to be a gig. And then I was like, I am literally due in March. I cannot make this commitment. So I was like, oh, so crushed. And then after I gave birth, like so much time has passed and somebody else took over her position. Again, like a few more emails later, finally we made it happen that holiday season.
Mm.
So my baby at the time was like 8, 9 months old. And I was like, yes, a job, a gig on site. And I finally like had that thing. But I wouldn't say that like my strategy I used was particularly like brilliant. It was just like a true shot in the dark. I sent a
Yeah.
web form to the marketing department and I got a person. And that's what happened. It's
Oh.
just history.
Mm.
It's not really a strategy.
Mhm.
But that's how it happened for me.
Well, I think when you're just entering, you need to get yourself, known, right? You need to let the world know, like, hey, I'm here that I
Yeah.
can do this job, right? So I also did I pitched a lot in the beginning of that year. And I had the gumption of pitching in person.
Wow. Oh my God.
Um,
Oh.
Good
I literally
touch.
went to like this luxury store. I don't know. I just went and I just talked to someone
That's
and
amazing.
Yeah.
and I gave them my business. I gave them my business card. I dressed up too. So like, I look presentable and everything. And that person emailed me maybe about 3 months later, referring me to another store that needed a calligrapher. And that client is still my client until today.
It worked.
Like, yeah, it's like I haven't pitched ever since. Like I only pitched that first year. That's it. And I just like my work is just like, like expanding right now. I do calligraphy, illustration, model painting. So it's like um when you're every time that you're doing a work, someone is looking at it. So and then they want to hire you. So that's why it's like a snowball effect. So whenever you're working on site, it's also a a an opportunity to market yourself effortlessly sometimes. Because sometimes they just like want to take your business guy. Hey, I'm a marketing manager from this department. Can I get your information? That happens literally all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, my goal was also trying to get into live events. So I did everything I could, which is like the networking, pitching in person. I find in person work better than like but I feel like when you're in the starting, you do everything that you can do. Like, go enter that form.
Yeah,
I don't
enter
know.
that
Like,
form. If you're an introvert like me and you cannot fathom just walking into a store like crazy Talisa, just pitching herself with courage, I could never do that. But absolutely do that if you have the courage to do so. Um, but yeah, like same as you. Like I sent because I'm scared.
Mhm,
I sent like a lot of emails just like thinking of, I thought about luxury companies and I also thought about local businesses. So
Mhm.
I like kind of canvassed whoever I could find like a proper email address for. Not just like info@blah.com. So anyone who like I could locate an email address for, I emailed them. It was like,
mhm.
this is what I do, this is what I can do. And I pretty much got shot down almost always. But there
Oh yeah.
were like a few breadcrumbs here and there that I could at least like engage and have a conversation with.
Mhm,
Um, and like to my surprise, even at the time, some like huge companies again send the web form because you actually don't know if somebody will respond, and sometimes they do. um and for like a huge international like big company, like a luxury dessert brand, and they like emailed me back, the Canadian like marketing department emailed me back and said like, oh, unfortunately, like we would love to incorporate something like this, but at this time, we don't want our packaging altered in any way, so we can't do something like this, but I appreciate you reaching out. I was like, oh my God, a human wrote me back about something like so
Mhm.
specific. And it's good to know that like people are reading these things. It's just one way to get yourself out there in the beginning stages. Because if you don't, I mean, how will they know you exist?
Yeah, exactly. You can't just wait until it lands on you.
Yeah,
The beginning year, you need to be proactively reaching out,
yeah.
And I remember one time I pitched to someone like a big group company, and then they said like, oh, we already have an artist, and I had no idea on set. And then they reach out to me like 3 years after. Sometimes it's it's not a no, it's just a not now,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So yeah.
They thought about you that whole time.
I don't know if they thought about me. I'm pretty sure they didn't. But they're probably maybe looking for a different, a different face, different style, or maybe that person is already fully booked. You don't know, right? Because
Mhm.
I feel like the demand is like getting more and more and more in that's what I noticed in my city. Um, so then it's like, maybe that person was already fully overbooked and they need to find someone else,
Mhm.
and then that the demand is getting more, and there needs to be more of us, so there's
Mhm.
always space for everybody.
There is.
Hmm.
They basic business knowledge about like different touch points and how brands will work with you. Um, Sometimes they need to see you multiple times. Like they say it's about 7 different touch points until
Yeah.
they want to work with you. So maybe they saw your work somewhere here and there, or maybe
Mhm.
like your calligraphy reminded them like, oh, Talisa is there. So maybe it could have been a combination of that. But
Yeah.
I was actually like you, like when I started pitching, there was a company that I went to. I actually did it in person also. Like I went there, told them about what I do, but I never got hired right away. And it wasn't until like 3 years later that they started contacting me. They saw what I can do. They saw that I can paint now. And I guess they decided to hire me from there. But it was funny because that whole 3 years, I would see them around at different events, even at events that had nothing to do with calligraphy or painting. I would just see like the manager and we would say hi because, Hawaii is so small. But maybe that kind of reminded them like, oh, that artist. I don't know, 3 years. So sometimes it does
Yeah.
take a while.
Yeah. It's a long game and
Mhm.
it's but like you have to enjoy the process and like there's
Mhm.
no such thing as like cookie cutter strategy. Like it's all like you need to have that patience. Like as you are waiting, you're keep improving
Mhm.
your work and keep doing art
Mhm.
and yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like you have to make all the errors and like face all the challenges and do all the wrong things. And then like the going through of those difficult processes is like what makes you experienced, right?
Mhm.
Um, it's very I doubt it would be possible to like get it right the first time. Like that would be insane.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, like just being able to, get yourself out there and with a little bit of caution, like still just be like brave to just put
Yeah.
yourself out there. Like look like a fool sometimes, but you're just gonna like give it a real shot, you know?
Mhm.
And maybe I wanted to add another point of like finding your community. Um,
Mm.
Mhm.
like this is maybe like this isn't a strategy, but I think that it's so important to like make friends.
Mhm.
Um, even if there's no like business reason to like make that network, just have friends. Have friends in the industry, have friends who are going through the same thing as you are. Connect with people who are experiencing the same problems as you are, chat about it. Oh my God, like that's happening to me too. Oh, that's so frustrating. Like even just having that um can really help to like brainstorm with and
Mhm.
commiserate.
Yeah, I think it's definitely best to like be friends with someone who's definitely going at the same level as you are. Um, or like, cause I've like you don't want to be try to be friends with someone but not being genuine, like hoping to be referred
Yeah.
to a
Mhm.
job. Like you could see it, we could see it. Like when are you trying to be my friend or are you trying to like, are you genuine? Um,
Totally. Yeah. And that's the thing. And with social media, it's so easy to like slide into a stranger's DMs and ask totally inappropriate questions that maybe you don't right away deserve the answers to. If you don't have an established relationship, like have the genuine curiosity to like make friends with somebody and like really connect with another human um before you think about the business side. And
yeah.
like you said about like, making friends with people who are kind of going through the same problems as you are at level of business experience, then you can like really brainstorm and come to that solution together, and like you're going through this journey together rather than approaching somebody to, you know, get the answers today that they worked years and years and years to get, because um it's not conducive to like your own success. It's not respecting the other person's time, all that
It's
stuff.
not a mutual friendship or
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah.
So I do like that. Like maybe start small, like maybe just like one of their photos. It doesn't have to go straight to the DM, like, how did you get this? What do you charge? Like all those things. You
Yeah,
can
Hey,
even
what do
say
I charge for
hello
this?
to the,
Hi, hello.
right?
hi, hello. Good Thursday to you too.
I know.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, just be respectful of someone's time
Mhm. Yeah.
too. Don't see your like someone as a strategy. because that's kind of mean. That's rude.
Yeah.
I'm not a
And
strategy.
community, yeah, and community is free, We're
Mhm.
hanging out on Instagram all day long. You're chatting with somebody in comments, you're chatting with somebody on DMs like, "Oh, this looks really beautiful. Like, how where did you take this course?" Like these are um like not harmful questions. Like just
Mhm.
make friends with people and just have the goal is to make a connection. The goal is not to get like something to benefit yourself. It's just
Yeah.
like make a friend, make a connection, seek out that community because that community is what's gonna get you like further and further and further.
Hmm.
Like we talked about Aaron's Discord
Mhm.
community, like something like
Hmm.
that is like a great place to start and like see, oh, what questions are people talking about, like how can I like you know contribute and absorb at the same time. Like you can only receive what you give out, right?
Yeah.
So like find the people, find the community, and go through the problems because that's what's going to get you the experience.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm glad that we cover that.
Mhm.
Um, because it's so important. Such a good talk. And which classically brings up to like the challenges that we've all faced in the beginning.
Mhm.
So what was like, other than the ones that we've talked about, was there any other big challenge that you face transitioning from hobby to professional artist, like the switching of brain of, oh, you're not doing this for like a self-care anymore. This is like this is business now.
Yeah.
And how did you like navigate any setback or maybe moment of doubts along the way?
Administratively, I think having and this is probably a headache for a lot of people starting out, is for me it was contracts.
Oh.
Um, so personally, like I said, the first few commissions I did, I always like routed it through Etsy. And in my mind, I was like, if a transaction is taking place on Etsy, then like the payment thing is covered. I don't have to worry about like tax, like all that stuff is kind of pre-taken care of. Um, and then it has its own terms and conditions. You put that in your Etsy shop and it's kind of just like there. It's like a set it and forget it kind of thing. But then
Mhm.
when it came time to like, oh, doing like an on-site job or a commission that maybe I don't want Etsy to take 5% out of or whatever it was, I had to like figure out a way to like take it off Etsy and like handle the transaction myself. And then at that point was the challenge of saying like, well, if I do a commission and it's like $500, this is no longer like a small, like, oh, I'm just doing a like a little $20 job. Don't I want to protect myself? Don't I want to also show the client that I'm protecting them? Like, how do I use a contract properly to like wrap that transaction? That was really difficult for me to figure out.
Mhm.
And so initially I just thought, okay, well, maybe I'll worry about the invoice first. So I started using just PayPal invoices for
Same.
commissions. So I started doing that. And then what I did was um I don't realize I like didn't think about this until now. But my very first attempt at like putting together like terms and conditions or a contract was I kind of copied verbiage from my first on-site job because they sent me a contract to sign
Hmm.
about the gig. So then I was like, oh, actually, there's like snippets of this that I could easily use for myself. So I like copied like sections of it and then kind of just like reworked it to make it sound like it was for me and a private piece of work. So then I would put that into my PayPal invoice under terms and conditions. So that was like the first rendition of like a contract on my side. So I would create a PayPal invoice, describe what it is that I'm doing. And in terms and conditions on the bottom, I just like this and this and this about marketing usage, this and this and this, about payment.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I outlined that there. It all lived inside the invoice until one day I like Googled this issue, and apparently like a contract that's shoved in the invoice is like null and void, not a contract. The payment of an invoice does not equal somebody's agreement to
Mhm.
the job or agreement to a contract. And I was like, okay, well, this is useless then. Now what? All right. So then I had to like find ways to like get templates and all that. And finally, eventually, I bought a contract template to
Yeah.
handle that. And then I like changed sections of it to my liking. But I'm like, that was a really long sort of journey to figuring out what contract to use or how do I do it. And it was really like a piecemeal trial and error situation for
Oh
me.
my
Probably
God.
one of the more challenging things administratively for me.
Gosh, well, you figured it out though.
Eventually.
Yeah. Thank God for
I know.
templates nowadays.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah, that you
doing
can purchase.
paper, not paper, like Word documents as the contract. Like everything was in there. They would have to like print out the Word document, manually sign it, and then
Oh my
somehow get
God.
it back to me. And so I know that it's still okay to do that, but there's
No,
much
it's
easier
still,
ways.
yeah, it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
it's acceptable, but inconvenient. Now, yes.
Mhm.
But I've definitely seen some people are still, not people like actually clients still doing that. Like, why do I have to print this?
Right?
Um,
Just
The
one extra
printer.
step.
what was your like your biggest challenge you had, Michelle, and how did
Oh
you navigate
gosh.
it?
So I kind of mentioned earlier I was selling some stuff at markets and like craft fairs. So I had Square Up as my area that I would charge people, like, Square Up, like
Right, I remember I have that.
yeah, like little scanner
Did a
thing.
market too.
So right, but that is actually mainly for like market stuff, like in-person sales.
Mm.
So many food businesses use it. Like it is so good for sell, like if you sell coffee or like lunch stuff, but it's not really geared to what we do. Like if you want to do like commission work, if you want to do live events, like it just almost doesn't work. Like there's much easier platforms to use. So I realized after making my website on Square Up and having my invoices from Square Up, like I just wanted one website for everything. I was so lazy. But then after I started realizing everything, then I was like, okay, I need to split this up. I want to get my website off of Square Up and go to Squarespace. And figuring that out was the biggest headache ever. Like just redoing my own website, transferring the domains, making sure that if you clicked on my website now that it would still like the residuals would be taken over, and it was so much of a headache, and I really wanted to give up and hire someone, but I was like I need to learn how to do this. Like might be an issue in the future and I want to know how to do it. So luckily my friend is a graphic designer, so she kind of gave me some tips on it, and it was a lot of research. But I feel so happy that I figured it out on my own. Like it's something that now I know what to do. And if it ever happens again, I know how to fix it. I know how to make it better. But yeah, I think I actually cried about it too. Like it was that
Oh,
stressful.
oh my God.
But
But
business,
Stress.
you figured it out. Yeah, that's what business is all about.
yeah,
You figure it out.
figure outable, right?
Everything is figured outable.
Yes.
Where
Yeah.
where do you guys get all these best friends who are graphic designers and photographers? Why didn't I have that?
I think remember when you said about like entering a community, like
Mhm.
before the calligraphy community, I entered the local entrepreneur community.
Mhm.
And that's how I got
Mm.
like even for a contract, I learned that from my photographer friend because it's like, hey, life event photographer
Mhm.
is a life event thing. So Like I learned about some clauses because he had a lawyer that drafted up her, which I probably should do. And then later on I found a lawyer who could, and then
Mhm.
who could do who sell templates for life event and whatnot. So
Yeah.
which is so awesome.
Yeah, it's true. Now that you mention it, that your photographer friend helped you with the contract, I now remember another place where I piecemealed or slash stolen um contract pieces from was my wedding planner.
Oh.
I was like, wait a minute, this is a contract that includes some things I could use. So then I was like, oh, this I will use this, I will use this sentence. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
My
you
contract was like honestly a Frankenstein project
would
for a while.
see, someone coming from like HR background where I had to deal with contracts on my
Yeah.
daily basis. So it was like I kind of I always think about, okay, what would, like, if this happened, what would I, like, I had to think about that
Mhm.
legal um with my legal brain like starting to like,
Yeah.
put into that. What about like clauses, like break clauses? Like I want to take a break after like certain, like,
Mhm.
amount of hours and stuff like that. And like me- and all that, like about harassment, clause. So those stuff is like, yeah, I want to make sure that I have something like that on my contract. But yeah, it was like I think for maybe 3 4 years my contract is always like updating and changing based
Mhm.
on situations that I go through or someone else go through. Like, yeah, I need to include that in my clause. um but um but for me, when it comes to the biggest challenge, as someone who's obsessed with process, my challenge the beginning was not knowing what process would work. um I think it was that doing the research of like which CMS that I wanted to use. So I think it took me about a year to research what I wanted to use, like, and because like I was very like admin
Minded.
minded from my previous job. I just wanted to have a smooth process where someone enter an inquiry, go straight to my email, I see it and I respond, and like, being able to send them my portfolio like right away, whatever they want, and then like the contract and everything, and then like showing them like the FAQ and all that stuff. So I think the challenge was like putting everything together, and that took like years for me to finally like have something set and having like email templates, because like you start to notice people ask the same thing, people want to know the same, have the same questions. So you always have that. I think like I have like email templates for every single situations that you could possibly think of. I feel like I always create a new template every week. It's like, oh, it's like
Now
very
it's too
specific.
many templates.
I know, it's like, oh, because like, when you're doing so many things, when you're doing engraving, calligraphy, illustration, bottle painting,
Mhm.
the language is different. And then when you're doing illustration, is it a portrait? Is or is it a fashion illustration? So like you kind of want to know, like they want to know like how many can you do per hour for, like, those are the different things that I'm like, like I just like boom, 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 boom. And then um so like I think that's probably the challenges, is like figuring out the smooth process. And I've had to use two CMS systems now. So I just recently switched, and because I like to always try to improve my process. So whenever I see like, oh, that's a better system, I want that. And then I switch, and it's like, of course, like switching is like a whole other process. But
Mhm.
yeah, basically the admin part for me was the biggest challenge. And that took it's not an overnight thing, it's like a whole project. to
Yeah.
set that up. So I think that's the difference between that, hobby to paycheck. That's like the stuff that we don't get to see. And we're probably gonna have a separate episode on that, like on
Mhm.
CMS and admin stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and maybe this is just out of abundance of caution, maybe you can define it for people who might not use one and don't know
Oh,
what it is, just to talk about
oh
that.
yeah. So CMS stands for Client Management System. So that's like it's like the system housing contract, the workflow of like your inquiries, your invoice, which can be connected to your bank. So it's like really easy. And your bookkeeping, like your business expense can all be all at one.
Yeah. And
So
you're tracking your clients as
mm,
soon as they are a lead. And then you have their like emails and phone numbers. It's linked to your email so that like everything you exchange with them lives in this portal. So at any given time, you can find like client ABC. These are the emails I've had with them. These are the
mm,
projects I've had with them. These are the
mm,
contracts we use. These were the rates that we agreed on. Like you just have like a management system for
yeah.
each. It's like a database that's quite like that's dynamic, and you can always. It's kind of like your dashboard for
Mhm.
your entire business.
Yeah.
Everything lives in it. Even some simple bookkeeping can live in it too, where you like track your expenses because it has all your revenue information, your tax programs, yada yada yada. So it's like at some point in the business, and maybe I'll mention this too, for everyone who's kind of just starting out, like it's not entirely necessary. I would say like when you're like if I like flash back to when I was the first year of doing like commissions and stuff, I didn't find it necessary, or like I didn't want to take on the like daunting like project of like using something like that when I didn't have enough workflow, like enough work
Hmm.
Mhm.
to really make that worth it. Like to pay for it even because these things are
Yeah.
not free.
Yeah.
To even pay for a service like that to house all this information when I'm working on like $200 commissions 5 times a year, like that's not worth the investment.
Hmm.
So it's okay to like, again, it's always okay to like start small, and then when
Mhm.
you get to that point where you're like, wow, I need something a little bit more robust
Mhm.
and like dynamic and able to handle a lot more transactions, and or I'm losing track of things, like, oh, somebody emailed me, their name is Amanda, and then like Amandy emailed me next week, and like you're getting things mixed up.
I
That's like
literally had that happen.
right. That's literally
I'm
like
like, wait,
the
where's Julie Isis?
yeah, that's the sign to be like, okay, you need a client management
Mhm.
Yeah.
software to
And
help
like
you
tracking
manage
like
that.
who hasn't paid my
Yeah.
net 30.
And if you only have two commission clients a month, like you don't need to track all that, right? Like there will come to a point where your business grows that you're like, I really need something to help me with all that. And that's when it gets to be really useful. But there's no way we're saying that like day one of your business, like get a CRM. Like
Yeah.
it's not necessary.
Yeah. I started with PayPal too, like when it wasn't that busy. But as soon as it got busy, I'm like, okay, I'm like losing track who and who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that happened like within 1 year of me being in business. I'm like, I really needed like a system.
Yeah.
So
Do
yeah.
you remember you used to tell me all the time, when I said like, "Oh, I don't do that yet. I don't do that yet. I don't do that yet because I don't have enough work yet." And then you would be like, "You will one day." Remember you used to
Yeah, I
say that? You're
remember. I
like,
remember
"One
we
day
had
you
that.
will, one day you will. Like, one day you're gonna need all this stuff." And I was like, "Damn it, she's right."
But you
I
keep
told
that
you.
in the back of your
I
mind.
told you.
But when that time comes, you kind of know what to do already, like because you've
Mhm.
heard it before. Like, yeah, you can
Yeah.
use this website to track every single thing. The CMS is better than what I was using, Square Up. This
Yeah.
one, it has like everything that you can imagine. I even do like expenses in there, so I don't print out receipts anymore. You just put it straight in there. And to me, that's huge
Mhm.
because this past year, I had so many receipts. I had papers flying everywhere, and I didn't track it until like the end of the year, which is like the worst thing to do. So if you track as you go, like it's definitely more
Manageable.
organized. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my CPA wanted to charge me more for doing bookkeeping. I was like, this is me being lazy, and I need to figure that out. So you can you can do it.
That's
All
fair.
right. Let's jump into the actionable advice portion of this episode. Okay, let's go really fast on this because we've talked a lot today.
What are you saying?
Okay, someone start.
Okay.
Okay, so the very first thing, our biggest advice, as usual, it's to emphasize, we're really talking about, doing the art for your passion, doing it because you love it. To have to go through all these challenges and all these headaches and all these stress hives, don't do it for the money because you're gonna hate it. Seriously, like having to stomach all these like rocks along the way, like you're just like, oh, like this is another problem, but you're solving it for something bigger. You're solving these huge problems that come your way for because you love it, because you have this like goal of doing of chasing this dream, right? So just it's the number one thing. Love what you're doing.
Mhm.
Yes. And speaking of which, even though I think there's a switch because when you're doing something for self-care and doing something for business, then you start to realize that improving your skills becomes so much more important than when you're just doing it for self-care.
Mhm.
Because now you're pleasing people. You're not doing it for yourself anymore. You're doing it to get paid. So that means you need to have a more uh, like a stronger skill, right? So that's where you need to keep investing in continuous learning and also improving it and as well as your process. So not just a skill, but also your process. So
Mhm.
yes.
I agree. The next
Mhm.
one, we kind of touched upon this already, like you were talking about, Talisa, like get your CMS going, get an
Mhm.
automated system that will really help, like just to simplify the whole process and make it easier and,
Mhm.
be organized, not like me, but you can have everything right there for you. Um, and then the next one, which I really, really like, I forgot where I heard this from, but I think it was probably from like one of a business book that I must have been reading. But they say it's best to, this is the way that you do things for your business. You first launch, then you refine things, and then you start. So it's not start, refine, launch, because in that sense, you'll spend too much time like getting things ready. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. Like you just need to get it out there and get going. So the term start before you're ready applies to business ideas like doing your website. This is not applied to your skills. So
Your skills
when
have to be there.
it has to be there. So when you want to do anything, like make sure you just get it out there and you can refine things later. It's always a learning process. Like
Mhm.
there was not one thing that I did from the start of my business that I am still doing till this day because everything changes over time and you get better, the process gets easier or better, you figure out a way to do it. So just start and figure it
Mhm.
out.
Yeah. And in relation to that point, I bring it back to publishing your website, before you feel like it's perfect. Um, I give this advice out all the time. all the time because I hear people say like, oh, I'm starting to work on my website. I'm working on it now. I'm creating pages, yada yada yada. And I'm kind of like I cut them off and I'm like, no, publish it now. Just hit like get it online, get it searchable. It needs to be out there, public. Google needs to know it exists. It doesn't matter if you have just a homepage and it just has one picture of your calligraphy and it says contact me and it's a link to your email. That's it. I don't care about any of the rest. Get it online. Because if nobody can find you, you can't even start having clients. And Google cares about how old your website is. Like forever now, if you search yourself, if you have a website, there's like three dots on the side, and it'll tell you like to expand information about this website. It'll tell you this website was indexed by Google in January 2020. That's me. And that
I
date
did not
haunts
know
me.
that.
That date haunts me forever because I wish I posted it like 5 years before that. You know what I mean? Like Google cares. Google needs to know like, hey, this person has existed for, 2 years online. And that adds to your like authenticity score. Like this is
Mhm.
important that you have existed and are doing business. You're searchable, you have images, you're updating your website. All these things come into play with your Google score. So like get it live now. I cannot say it one more time. Get your website published now.
Oh my God. I had no idea about, I didn't
Did
know
you
what
just
that
do
little
it?
tweet that, yeah. Oh wow. I just did it
Oh,
for my own website.
I
It
just
was
blew Talisa's mind and I didn't even mean to do
I had no idea. I never
it.
clicked that thing, those three little
Yeah.
dots.
Yeah, and you'll notice probably if you're Googling artists in your city, like the higher up results are older websites. They've lived there longer, they've had more pages, more hits, more everything. So get
Mhm.
it. This is one thing you can control is the timing of the publish, and you can't change that date. You can't go back in time. I can't go back in time to publish it earlier. So you can do it now. That's the first thing you can do. Do it now. Did I say it? Did I say it yet?
Yes.
Oh.
That's actually a really, really good advice because a
Mhm.
lot of people are like so afraid of like posting it, publishing it until like it's perfect. Just
Yeah.
do it. And then you can perfect it. It's never perfect. One thing, it's just never perfect. It's
It's never
always
perfect.
Mhm.
I'm
No.
still updating and changing it until now. Um
Yeah, and
and
and to that, like it's like I'm waiting until it's perfect to post it. If I'm gonna really, really convince you of this point now, it's that no one is going to see it now if you hit
Mhm.
publish now. I think we think like, oh, if I put it public now, like all these people are gonna see that I have like a really crappy website. No one, I
Oh.
promise, if you hit post right, publish right now, nobody will see it anyway. And that's
yeah.
not to be that's not to be mean. It's just a day one live website is not going to get clicks anyway. You're just doing it so that it also kicks yourself into urgency. Like now that it's live, I got to add things to it. I got to add things to it. So you're editing it constantly. You're adding a new page. You're adding more photos, um, and you're updating it all the time because now it's live.
Yeah, this
And
is
no
so
one knows
cool.
it exists when you
It
first
it,
publish
it
it.
didn't exist before. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Um, this is actually great as our segue for our next episode.
Love the
So we're gonna talk about website on our next episode. We're not gonna talk about like, like the very, like as a how do I say it? We're gonna talk about based on our experience, what worked for us and whatnot. And So that's the next episode in this podcast.
Not
How
even a hint. We're just gonna tell you.
yeah, we're just gonna tell you like what worked for us, what didn't, our journey with our website and all things like that. So, because it is one of the most important thing to do when you are entering the live event market is to have a website. And yeah, so that's it.
That's the tea.
Did I say it yet? Please hit publish now.
Yes. Hit that button. Well, I think we've covered a lot this episode, how the journey of how we switch from pastime to paycheck. Well, thank you everyone for listening to our episode. And please, please, please let us know your feedback. Please rate our podcast and don't forget to follow us on Event Ready Pod on Instagram where we share our latest news and we get to know each other. We like to sometimes post stuff where we want you to engage so then we can get to know our audience.
Yeah,
And yeah,
and hopefully like that becomes like a hangout for everyone and build that community we kind of touched upon earlier, where we kind of just like share in the journey. There's others like you out there. You're gonna find them. So just like participate in these social things because that's where you're gonna find your people.
Mhm.
yeah, because we want to get to know you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a hangout for all of us, all the creatives,
Let's hang out with us.
right?
Yeah, the last time we posted that and we got so many comments. Like we spent all day replying and chatting
Yeah,
on that
it
post.
was
So that was
it
really
w-
fun.
yeah, that was so fun. We had, let me check how many comments. Like it was very engaging. We had 188 comments. That includes like our response and everything, but it was a very, very good post. And I really like that. I think we're gonna keep doing that so that we
Mhm.
can get to know our audience and yeah.
And for you
Uh,
to get to know each other, right? Like
Yeah, exactly. Like within
it's
the
not
community.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening to our podcast, and we will see you on our next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.